Welcome back
to Marriage Beyond the Veil, day 63. So, for better or for worse,
okay.
for richer or for poor,
Mm-hmm.
in sickness and in health.
All of that.
Yeah, we've been dealing with this. But what if the health challenge is something a little bit deeper? What if the doctor says, okay, you need to stop eating salt?
Then you have a choice to make.
Is that something that you do as a couple, or is that just something that you have to do?
Well, ultimately, it's a couple thing. Initially, it's your thing, though. Mm-hmm. It's your thing because you have to make the decision. But it is a couple thing because it impacts both of you. And if you're talking about health or even something that may be threatening one's life, then yeah, that's definitely something that's going to impact both of you. And so that's a conversation that needs to be had.
What I do for a living is help people to see food differently, and I work with people that have hypertension and diabetes and obesity. And some of the most beautiful situations that I've come across are those in relationships where one spouse or another has a health challenge, and the other spouse jumps in and says, hey, I'm in it with you. And so they make the necessary changes in their diet. But I have literally had people come in as a couple, and one person in the couple starts crying because I say that they need to cut salt out of their diet, or they can no longer cook with oil, or they got to stop eating sugar. And when I say stop eating sugar, Fred knows that I mean not just eating sweets. I'm talking about eating sugary foods. So that would include vegetables, or like lots of potatoes and rice and that kind of stuff, anything that can turn into sugar. But what I explain to them is so much easier when you do it as a couple. And what I found is when people do it as a couple, they're much more successful.
Well, you have somebody that is on the journey with you, somebody that's holding you accountable. But it's always better to go through whatever you have to go through with someone else who is partnering with you. It can serve kind of like as a cheerleader.
Yeah, exactly.
Somebody that will give you that extra oomph when you need it. Because when you're talking about having to eliminate things, particularly things that you enjoy, and you mentioned salt, sugar, and oil, the trifecta, because that's where the flavor is.
SOS.
Yeah. It's difficult, particularly when that's how you've been raised, that's what you are accustomed to, and that's what you enjoy. I noticed, and this was, oh my goodness, probably about 30 years ago or so, I noticed that, because when all of this fat-free stuff started to hit the market, I immediately noticed, I was like, wow, when the fat's gone, so is the taste. And that was the reality for me. I mean, because
yes.
Yeah.
And you used to salt your food before you taste it. And I remember one year for Lent. Do you remember this?
I remember very few things.
Yes, but anyway,
that you bring up.
One year for Lent, the challenge was to give up salting his food before he ate it. And
because I was literally
before
that
he
guy.
Tasted it. And I mean, that was insulting to me on some level, but hey.
Yeah. Look. Yeah.
See, there it is. The first year, it didn't stick. The second year he did it did.
Well, and it wasn't just because I was able to give it up for Lent. Because on my father's side of the family, they all wound up with high blood pressure. So I knew that, I was pretty much predisposed to that, even though I did not have it at the time. But I knew, okay, I need to cut this out because I had to be concerned about my health for me and for us.
Right, exactly. So that was really what I just wanted to talk about is that, if someone comes home or if you notice that someone has picked up a bad habit that is causing damage to their health, remember that their longevity is partly your longevity, because what we do know is that people that live and grow and love together live longer.
So, until tomorrow, if the Lord says the same.
Have a good evening.
SOS, salt, oil,
sugar.
Cut them down,
Cut it out.
cut them out.
Yep.